Courteous and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Donald Lee Kessner, Sr., age 84, died January 14th in Altoona. Funeral service will be today at 11 a.m. from First Baptist Church of Oak Grove, with the Reverend Max Buttram officiating. Burial in the Green Hill Memorial Gardens. Visitation prior to the service, 9:30 until 11 a.m. at the church. Burial in the Green Hill Memorial Gardens, of course. Mr. Kessner was a member of the Oak Grove Baptist Church. Online condolences at courteusandsonfh.com. Courteous and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing that service. Mr. Kessner died at the age of 84 in Altoona on January the 14th, originally from Sylacauga. Margie Nell Bryant, age 76 of Sylacauga, died January 17th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Funeral service will be held Saturday at First Baptist Church of Oak Grove, with Dr. Max Buttram officiating. Visitation 1 hour prior to the service from 1 until 2. Burial in the Evergreen Memorial Cemetery. Online memorials at courteusandsonfh.com. Courteous and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Mrs. Sharon Epperson, age 88 of Sylacauga, died at her residence last night. Courteous and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, announcing. Funeral service for Mr. Ralph Donald Truex Jr., age 73 of Sylacauga, will be Saturday at 2 p.m. from Courteous and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, with the Reverend Donald Grice officiating. Burial in the Childersburg Cemetery. Visitation tonight at the Childersburg Chapel from 5 until 8. Mr. Truex died January 17th at his residence. Online condolences at courteusandsonfh.com. Courteous and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Ms. Rosella W. Landers, age 88 of Sylacauga, died January 18th at Sylacauga Health and Rehab. Courteous and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, will announce the arrangements. Mr. Roy J. Rich, age 61 of Sylacauga, died January 17th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Courteous and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, will announce the arrangements. Funeral service for Carson E. Davis, age 81 of Talladega, will be Saturday at 2 o'clock from the chapel of Radley Smith Funeral Home, with Reverend Tommy Bounds and the Reverend Fred Milam officiating. Burial in the Evergreen Cemetery. Mr. Davis died January 18th at his residence. He was a member of the Mignon Methodist Church. Visitation Saturday, noon until 2 o'clock at the funeral home. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleysmith.com. Radley Smith Funeral Home, directing. Denson McGrady, age 83 of Sylacauga, died Thursday at Bill Nichols Nursing Home in Alexander City. Radley Smith Funeral Home will announce the arrangements. Funeral service for Rebecca Frances Randall McNutt, age 85, is today at 2 o'clock from the chapel of Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega. Elder Mitchell Phillips, prior pastor, and current pastor Elder Barry Cordes will officiate. Burial in the Pine Hill Memorial Park. Visitation today, 12:30 until 2 o'clock. Ms. McNutt was a member of the Sardis Primitive Baptist Church. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the AIDB. You can go to aidb.org. Personal condolences online at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ursery Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Funeral service for Mr. Fred McCain will be today at noon from Hollins Springs Missionary Baptist Church in Hollins, Alabama. Pastor Alfred Williams officiating. Interment in the Hollins Springs Cemetery. Zion Memorial Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Funeral service for Herbert Herb Winston Freeman, age 93 of Alexander City. That service was held yesterday, and Radley Funeral Home directed that service. Funeral service for Mr. Roger Glenn Reeves was also held yesterday at Wright's Funeral Home. Funeral service for Mr. Keith Edison Haggerty, age 57 of Alexander City, will be today at 11 a.m. from Flint Hill United Methodist Church. The Reverend John Hill and the Reverend Mike Jackson will officiate. Burial in the Hillview Memorial Park. The family will receive friends today, 10 a.m. until 11 o'clock at the church. The body will lie in state 1 hour prior to the service. The family will accept flowers. A memorial contribution can be made to the Flint Hill United Methodist Church, 2858 Flint Hill Road, Alexander City, Alabama, 35010. Radley Funeral Home directing. Graveside service for Thomas Ray Helms Sr., age 70, is today at 2 o'clock in Mobile at Pine Crest Cemetery. The Reverend Andy Dixon officiating, burial in the Pine Crest Cemetery. In lieu of flowers, contribution can be made to the Wounded Warrior Project, P.O. Box 758518, Topeka, Kansas, 66675-8518. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleysmith.com. Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Teresa Gretchen Christian, age 71 of Munford, will be Saturday at 1:30 from Hall Grove Missionary Baptist Church with Pastor Reginald Cook officiating. Burial in the adjoining cemetery. The family will receive friends tonight, 6 until 8 at Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ursery Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Larry Embry, age 67, will be Saturday at Harper Spring Baptist Church in Sylacauga beginning at 1 p.m. Reverend Matthew Leonard will officiate. Burial in the Harper Spring Cemetery. The station today, 1 until 8 at the funeral home. Mr. Embry passed away January 15th at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga directing. Lynette Morris, age 57 of Talladega, died January 15th. Public viewing at Sims Funeral Service from 1 until 6 today. Services of remembrance will be Saturday at Rocky Mount Missionary Baptist Church at 1 o'clock. Burial in the Sycamore Churchyard Cemetery. The Reverend Johnny McKinney will officiate. Serenity Chapel Funeral Home, Birmingham directing. Billy Wayne Neville, age 68 of Talladega, died January 16th at his residence. Private graveside service will be held at a later date. Earl Sanders and Luke Camara officiating. Mr. Neville was a native and lifelong resident of Talladega. He attended First Free Will Baptist Church and was owner and operator of Quality Auto Parts in Talladega. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ursery Funeral Home directing. Mr. Freddie C. Reeves, age 58, died January 16th. Visitation will be Saturday from 6 till 8 o'clock at Talladega Funeral Home. Funeral service will be held Sunday, January 21st, beginning at 1:30 with interment in the Munford Memorial Cemetery. Talladega Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Clifton E. Bull Thomas, age 42, will be Saturday at noon from Mount Olive Baptist Church in Harpersville. The Reverend Clarence Carter officiating. Burial in the Harpersville Memorial Cemetery. Visitation today, 2 until 8 at the funeral home. Mr. Thomas died January 13th in Harpersville. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Community Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Joanne Vickers, age 78, will be Saturday at 3 p.m. from the chapel of Radley Funeral Home in Alexander City. The Reverend Jim Helms officiating. Burial in the Alexander City Cemetery. The family will receive friends Saturday 1:30 to 2:30 at the funeral home. Mrs. Vickers died January 15th at Chapman's Nursing Home. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. Radley Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Michael Leonard, age 61 of Alexander City, will be Monday, January 22nd at Great Bethel Baptist Church. Burial in the Armours Memorial Garden in Alexander City. Armours Memorial Funeral Home directing. Graveside service for Billy Tidwell, age 76, will be Saturday at 1 o'clock from Hillview Memorial Park. Randy Anderson officiating. The family will receive friends Saturday, 10:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. at Radley Funeral Home. Mr. Tidwell died Wednesday, January the 17th. Radley Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mrs. Margaret H. Milliner, age 88 of Alexander City, is today at 1 o'clock from Great Bethel Baptist Church in Alexander City, with burial in the Armours Memorial Garden. Armours Memorial Funeral Home directing. Mr. Joe Lewis Knight, age 74 of Alexander City, passed away January 17th at his residence. Final arrangements are pending. They'll be announced later by Armours Memorial Funeral Home of Alexander City. These obituaries are brought to you this morning by Curtis and Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. 256-245-4361 for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.